Let me start with something that might surprise you. Nearly 1 in 2 men over the age of 40 experience some degree of difficulty with erections. By the time men reach their 50s and 60s, those numbers grow even higher. Yet, despite how common it is, many men keep this struggle private, often feeling ashamed or even worried that it means they are less masculine or that something is irreversibly wrong. This is not just about sex. Erections, especially spontaneous ones like morning erections, are important signals of vascular and hormonal health. When a man wakes up with firm morning wood, it usually means his circulation, hormones, and nervous system are working in harmony. When that morning signal starts to fade, it can feel unsettling. Some men immediately fear the worst. Is this permanent? Does it mean I will never perform again? Others turn to the internet and are bombarded with confusing advice, miracle supplements, or myths that only deepen the anxiety. But here's the truth. Erectile changes with age are common and they are often manageable. Morning erections do not disappear overnight. They are influenced by many factors: testosterone levels, blood flow, sleep quality, stress, even what you eat or drink before bed. And today, we are going to talk about something very specific. A simple powder you can take before bed that has been shown in research to improve sleep quality, hormonal balance, and yes, morning erections. Why do I want to have this conversation with you? Because men deserve clarity, not fear. Erectile health is not just about virility. It is about your heart, your metabolism, your prostate, your sleep, your overall vitality. Think of morning wood like the body's daily status report. When it is strong and reliable, it is a sign of health. When it becomes weaker or inconsistent, it is a signal to pay attention. In this session, I will walk you through what the science actually says. We will look at the connection between nighttime powders like magnesium, glycine, or collagen peptides and their impact on hormones, blood flow, and sleep. We will separate fact from hype. We will explore 6 evidence-based insights that go far beyond "take this and you will be fine." Because lasting results are never about one powder or one pill. They are about understanding your body and building small, consistent habits that restore balance. So, stay with me. Over the next half hour, we will demystify this topic, use real science, and give you clear, actionable steps you can use right away. You will leave this conversation with not only an understanding of which powder to consider before bed, but also a deeper appreciation of how your body works and how you can support it at any age. Let us start at the very beginning with a question that many men ask quietly but rarely out loud. Why does morning wood matter so much? Is it really important, or is it just a curiosity of the male body? The truth is, morning erections are not random. They are a highly coordinated biological event, and to understand why they are important, we need to zoom in on what is happening during the night. When you fall asleep, your body cycles through different stages: light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep, which is when dreaming occurs. During REM sleep, the body's nervous system shifts, blood vessels relax, and the brain sends signals to the penis that cause an erection. This is completely natural and happens to most men multiple times each night, not just once in the morning. In fact, according to research published by the National Institutes of Health, healthy men can have 3 to 5 erections during the night, each lasting 25 to 35 minutes. So why does that morning one matter most? Because it is the one you are aware of. You wake up, you feel it, and it becomes a natural barometer of your health. If those nighttime erections are disappearing or becoming weaker, the morning signal becomes the easiest way to notice that something might be changing. Think of it like your car's dashboard light. When you see the oil light turn on, it does not mean your engine has already failed. It means it needs attention. Morning erections are like that dashboard light, an early sign that your body may need more care, whether that is in circulation, hormones, or sleep. Now let us connect this with research. Studies from the Mayo Clinic and Harvard Medical School have repeatedly shown that erectile difficulties are strongly linked with cardiovascular disease. In fact, one large study found that men who developed erectile dysfunction were more likely to develop heart disease within 5 years. Why? Because the arteries in the penis are smaller than the arteries in the heart. If blood flow is restricted, the penis will be the first place you notice it. So, a loss of morning wood can sometimes be the earliest warning sign of vascular disease. Hormones also play a role. Testosterone naturally peaks in the early morning hours, between about 5 and 8 o'clock. That rise in testosterone is partly why erections are more likely upon waking. If your testosterone levels are declining, which happens gradually with age, the strength of morning erections can also decline. The Endocrine Society highlights that low testosterone or hypogonadism is a major contributor to reduced spontaneous erections, though not the only one. The nervous system is the third pillar here. Erections are a dance between relaxation and stimulation of nerve pathways. If you are overly stressed, anxious, or not getting restorative sleep, those nerve signals do not function properly. Research in the Journal of Sexual Medicine confirms that chronic stress and poor sleep disrupt the autonomic nervous system, which directly reduces nocturnal erections. So, when we look at all this together, morning erections are not just about performance in the bedroom, they are about circulation, hormones, and nerve health. The 3 pillars of male vitality. Losing them does not mean you are broken. It means your body is giving you an early message. Pay attention, make adjustments, and support the systems that keep you healthy. Here's a practical way to think about it. Imagine your erection as a nightly stress test for your cardiovascular system. If you wake up with strong, consistent morning wood, your body is likely passing that test. If it is becoming weaker, it does not mean failure. It means the test is showing room for improvement. Now, what can you do with this information? First, notice patterns. Do not panic after 1 or 2 nights without morning erections. Many factors, a poor night's sleep, alcohol, stress, even a heavy late night meal can interfere. But if you consistently notice changes over weeks or months, that is valuable information to discuss with your doctor. Second, recognize that the solution is not always medication. Lifestyle factors such as improving sleep quality, reducing alcohol, exercising, and managing weight all have significant impact. Third, and this will be the focus of our upcoming sections, consider how certain bedtime powders like magnesium or glycine can support these underlying systems. Let me close this section with reassurance. If you are over 50 and worried that your morning erections are not what they used to be, you are not alone. This is common and it is not a sentence. It is an opportunity to check in on your health, to make adjustments, and to support your body in simple but powerful ways. And that is exactly what we will explore next. Now that we understand why morning erections are such an important signal of health, let us turn to one of the most overlooked yet powerful influences, sleep. Sleep is not just about resting your mind. It is a finely tuned biological process that restores hormones, balances the nervous system, and keeps blood vessels healthy. Without good sleep, morning erections simply cannot thrive. Let me explain how this works. During sleep, your body cycles through stages: light sleep, deep sleep, and rapid eye movement, or REM sleep. It is in REM sleep that most nocturnal erections occur. Research from the National Sleep Foundation shows that healthy men may spend about 1 to 2 hours in REM each night, spread across several cycles. During these windows, blood vessels dilate, testosterone rises, and the brain sends signals that trigger erections. By the time you wake up, if you have had enough REM sleep, you are likely to notice strong morning wood. But here is the problem. Many men over 50 struggle with fragmented or shallow sleep. Maybe it is due to stress, work, or late night screen time. Maybe it is because of health conditions like sleep apnea, enlarged prostate causing frequent urination, or even the natural decline in melatonin with age. Whatever the reason, when REM sleep is cut short, those erections are interrupted. In fact, a study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that men with sleep apnea were significantly more likely to experience erectile dysfunction. Treating the sleep disorder often improved both sleep quality and erectile health. Think of it like this. Your penis is not just responding to arousal, it is responding to your brain's sleep architecture. If the brain does not reach those deep cycles, the penis never receives the signal. In a way, morning erections are less about your desire and more about your body's ability to complete a healthy night of sleep. Hormones add another layer to this. Testosterone, which is critical for libido and erection strength, is replenished at night. According to research from Harvard Medical School, testosterone levels can drop by as much as 15% after just 1 week of restricted sleep. That is huge. And for men who are already experiencing age-related declines, the difference between good sleep and poor sleep can be the difference between waking up firm or waking up flat. Circulation is another key. While you sleep, your body restores vascular function, blood pressure dips naturally, and the lining of your blood vessels, called the endothelium, gets a chance to recover. If you stay up too late or sleep poorly, those recovery processes are disrupted. Over time, that contributes to weaker erections. So what can you do about this? Let me give you some practical steps. First, establish a consistent bedtime routine. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day helps regulate your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that governs hormone release and sleep cycles. Second, limit alcohol and caffeine in the evening. Alcohol may make you feel drowsy, but it fragments REM sleep, reducing the chance of strong nocturnal erections. Third, create a dark, cool sleep environment. Even small amounts of light can disrupt melatonin production, which is essential for deep sleep. And here is where bedtime powders come in, the theme of today's conversation. Certain supplements like magnesium and glycine have been studied for their ability to improve sleep quality. Magnesium calms the nervous system by supporting GABA activity, a neurotransmitter that promotes relaxation. Glycine, on the other hand, has been shown in studies to lower core body temperature and help people fall into deeper sleep stages more quickly. Both of these indirectly support nocturnal erections by improving sleep architecture. Let me pause here and gently encourage you, if this explanation is clarifying things for you, give this video a thumbs up. It helps more men find evidence-based guidance rather than myths. And if you have noticed changes in your sleep and erections, comment below. Let us make this a space where men can talk openly and without shame. To close this section, remember this morning erections are not just about testosterone or desire. They are a reflection of your sleep quality. If you are not sleeping well, your erections will show it. But the good news is that sleep is something you can improve, often with simple changes. In the next section, we will explore one of the most powerful sleep-supporting powders you can take before bed, magnesium, and why it is particularly important for men over 50. Let us now talk about one of the simplest yet most powerful bedtime powders, magnesium. This is a mineral that often gets overlooked, but it plays a role in over 300 biochemical reactions in the body. And when it comes to sleep, stress, and erections, magnesium is a quiet hero. First, let us look at the basics. Magnesium is essential for muscle relaxation, nerve signaling, and blood vessel health. Yet, according to the National Institutes of Health, nearly 50% of adults in the United States do not get enough magnesium from their diet. That deficiency is even more common in older men, partly because of changes in absorption with age, and partly because modern diets are lower in magnesium-rich foods like leafy greens, nuts, and whole grains. So what happens when you are low in magnesium? You are more likely to experience muscle tension, anxiety, poor sleep, and impaired vascular function. Each of these is a barrier to strong erections. A study published in the International Journal of Urology highlighted that magnesium deficiency is associated with endothelial dysfunction. That means the lining of your blood vessels does not dilate properly. If blood vessels cannot relax, blood cannot flow into the penis effectively. Now let us connect magnesium with sleep. Magnesium helps regulate a neurotransmitter called GABA, which acts like the brain's brake pedal, calming overactive thoughts and easing the transition into deep sleep. Research from the University of Geneva found that magnesium supplementation improved sleep quality in older adults, especially by increasing slow wave or deep sleep. And remember from our last section, deep sleep and REM cycles are when nocturnal erections occur. If you deepen sleep, you support erections. Magnesium also interacts with stress hormones. When you are chronically stressed, cortisol stays elevated, and high cortisol is a known disruptor of testosterone production. By calming the nervous system, magnesium can help reduce nighttime cortisol levels, protecting the natural early morning rise in testosterone. That means more support for morning erections. Here's another important piece: magnesium's effect on blood pressure. High blood pressure is a leading cause of erectile dysfunction because it damages the small arteries that feed the penis. Multiple meta-analyses, including one published in the journal Hypertension, show that magnesium supplementation can help lower blood pressure modestly. This protective effect on circulation benefits not just your heart, but also your erections. Think of magnesium like oil for your body's machinery. Without it, the gears grind, sleep becomes restless, and blood vessels stiffen. With it, the system runs more smoothly. You sleep deeper, stress calms, and blood flows more freely. So how can you use magnesium in a practical way? Powders are one of the easiest forms. A scoop of magnesium powder mixed in warm water before bed can promote relaxation and prepare your body for restorative sleep. There are different forms of magnesium, and this is where many men get confused. Magnesium citrate, for example, has a mild laxative effect and is useful for constipation, but it is not the best for sleep. Magnesium glycinate or magnesium threonate are often recommended for calming the nervous system and improving sleep quality. Safety is important here. Too much magnesium can cause diarrhea or stomach upset. The general guideline for supplementation is around 200 to 400 milligrams per day, depending on diet and health conditions. Always check with your doctor, especially if you have kidney disease, since magnesium is cleared through the kidneys. Now, let me give you a real-life example. In my practice, I have seen men in their 60s who were struggling with both restless sleep and weak morning erections. After making basic lifestyle adjustments, we added a magnesium glycinate powder at night. Within weeks, many reported not only falling asleep faster, but also noticing more consistent morning wood. It was not a magic bullet, but it was a gentle support for the body's natural processes. Before we move on, let me reassure you again. Magnesium is not about chasing a quick fix. It is about nourishing your nervous system, your sleep cycles, and your vascular health. When these three are supported, erections often follow. If you are finding this discussion helpful, consider subscribing. That way you will continue to get grounded, evidence-based guidance rather than myths or quick promises. Next, we will dive into another fascinating bedtime powder, glycine, and how this simple amino acid can improve sleep, support hormones, and give your body the recovery it needs for stronger erections by morning. Now that we have explored magnesium, let us move on to another fascinating and often overlooked nutrient, glycine. Unlike magnesium, which is a mineral, glycine is an amino acid, one of the building blocks of protein, but glycine has unique properties that make it particularly valuable for sleep recovery and ultimately for supporting morning erections. So what is glycine? It is considered a non-essential amino acid because your body can produce it on its own. However, studies show that supplemental glycine can provide benefits beyond what you might get from your normal diet. Glycine is naturally found in high amounts in collagen, bone broth, and certain cuts of meat. But in powder form, it can be taken before bed to influence sleep quality and nervous system function in powerful ways. Let us look at the science. Research published in the journal Sleep and Biological Rhythms found that participants who took 3 grams of glycine before bed reported falling asleep faster, having deeper sleep, and waking up less fatigued. Objective measures using brainwave monitoring also confirmed improved sleep quality. How does this happen? One of glycine's unique effects is lowering core body temperature. Your body naturally cools down before falling asleep, and glycine enhances this cooling process, making it easier to drift into restorative deep sleep. Why does this matter for erections? Remember, nocturnal and morning erections depend heavily on healthy sleep architecture. By improving both the depth and quality of sleep, glycine indirectly supports the hormonal and neurological conditions needed for strong morning wood. There is more. Glycine has been shown to reduce feelings of stress and improve cognitive function after poor sleep. In one study published in Frontiers in Nutrition, glycine supplementation reduced fatigue and daytime sleepiness in people who had restricted sleep. For men over 50 who often juggle stress, health conditions, and busy schedules, this calming effect on the nervous system can be transformative. A calm nervous system means better balance between the sympathetic fight-or-flight system and the parasympathetic rest and digest system, and erections depend on the latter. Now let us connect glycine to hormones. While the evidence is still emerging, some research suggests glycine may support growth hormone release during sleep. Growth hormone is not only important for muscle and tissue repair, but also for overall vitality and metabolism. A healthier metabolic environment means better support for testosterone and vascular health, two pillars of erectile function. Think of glycine like a gentle nighttime signal to your body: slow down, cool down, and repair. Magnesium, which we discussed earlier, calms the nervous system through neurotransmitters. Glycine complements this by directly aiding sleep quality and lowering stress responses. Together, they create an environment where your body can restore itself fully. How can you use glycine practically? Most studies use a dose of around 3 to 5 grams, taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed. That is about 1 teaspoon of powder mixed in water. Glycine has a naturally sweet taste, so it is easy to take on its own or combine with magnesium in a bedtime drink. Unlike some supplements, glycine is generally well tolerated and considered safe, though people with certain medical conditions should check with their healthcare provider before starting. Let me share a clinical observation. Men who start using glycine often notice not only improved sleep, but also more vivid dreams, less mental fog, and over time, more reliable morning erections. Again, it is not a pharmaceutical drug with immediate dramatic effects, but by supporting sleep architecture, calming the nervous system, and promoting recovery, glycine addresses the root conditions that influence erectile strength. If what we are discussing resonates with you, let me encourage you to leave a comment below. Have you ever tried magnesium or glycine for sleep? Did you notice a difference in your energy, recovery, or erections? Sharing your story helps break the silence around men's health and reminds others they are not alone in these struggles. To close this section, remember this morning, erections are not created in the bedroom. They are created during the night in the quiet hours of sleep when your body is repairing itself. Glycine is a simple, inexpensive, and well-studied powder that can enhance that process. When taken consistently, it may help restore not only your sleep, but also your confidence in waking up strong. In our next section, we will shift gears slightly. We will look at circulation, nitric oxide, and why what you do at night, including the powders you take, sets the stage for blood flow in the morning. We have talked about sleep and the role of powders like magnesium and glycine. Now let us focus on another pillar of erectile health: circulation. Erections at their core are a vascular event. Blood has to flow into the penis, fill the erectile chambers, and stay there long enough for firmness. Without good circulation, no amount of willpower or desire can create a strong morning erection. So how does circulation connect to what happens at night? The answer is nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a molecule produced naturally in the body that signals blood vessels to relax and widen. When nitric oxide is released, arteries expand, blood flows more freely, and erections become possible. In fact, the very medications prescribed for erectile dysfunction, such as sildenafil, work by amplifying the nitric oxide pathway. The challenge is that nitric oxide production declines with age. By the time men reach their 50s and 60s, levels are significantly lower than in their 20s. That means the body needs more support to keep circulation healthy. Here is where nighttime habits come in. During sleep, your body restores endothelial function, that is, the ability of blood vessels to respond to nitric oxide. If your sleep is fragmented, if you are stressed, or if your diet is poor, this repair process is disrupted. The result is weaker circulation and weaker erections. Research from the American Heart Association has shown that lifestyle factors such as poor diet, lack of exercise, and high blood pressure directly impair nitric oxide pathways. Conversely, habits that improve vascular health, like eating nitrate-rich vegetables, exercising, and reducing oxidative stress, strengthen those pathways. What you do in the evening has a direct influence here. For example, a heavy, high-fat meal late at night can impair endothelial function for hours, reducing the body's ability to generate nitric oxide while you sleep. So how do powders fit into this? Some bedtime powders contain nutrients that support nitric oxide and circulation. For example, beetroot powder is rich in dietary nitrates. When consumed, these nitrates are converted into nitric oxide, helping blood vessels relax. A study published in Hypertension Research found that dietary nitrate supplementation improved blood flow and reduced blood pressure in older adults. While most people think of beetroot powder as a pre-workout drink, taking it in the evening in small amounts can also support vascular function overnight. Another example is L-citrulline, an amino acid found in watermelon but also available in powder form. The body converts L-citrulline into L-arginine, which then boosts nitric oxide production. Research in the Journal of Urology has shown that L-citrulline supplementation improved erectile hardness in men with mild erectile dysfunction. While it is not as potent as prescription medications, it works naturally and supports the same biological pathway. Now let me make this practical. If you are over 50 and want to support morning erections, think of your bedtime routine as preparation for vascular repair. Avoid heavy fatty meals late at night as they impair endothelial function. Limit alcohol, which disrupts both sleep and nitric oxide production. And consider powders like magnesium or glycine for sleep, paired with circulation-supporting options like beetroot or L-citrulline, depending on what your doctor approves. Here is a useful analogy. Imagine your blood vessels as highways and nitric oxide as the traffic lights. When nitric oxide is plentiful, the lights all turn green and traffic or blood flow moves freely. When nitric oxide is low, the lights stay red, traffic jams build up, and the flow slows down. Morning erections depend on those lights turning green during the night so that by morning the system is ready to respond. Let me add one important reminder. Morning wood is not just about your penis, it is about your heart. Because the penile arteries are smaller, erectile difficulties often show up years before cardiovascular disease becomes obvious. By supporting circulation at night, you are not only protecting your erections, you are protecting your heart. If this is striking a chord with you, do not keep it to yourself. Comment below. Have you ever noticed a difference in your erections when your diet or sleep was off? Opening this conversation helps other men see that they are not isolated in their struggles. To close this section, remember, circulation is the foundation of erection. Nitric oxide is the signal, and your nighttime choices, from what you eat to what powders you take, set the stage. In our next section, we will bring all of this together into a framework you can actually use. A step-by-step bedtime ritual to protect your sleep, your circulation, and your vitality. We have explored the science from many angles: sleep, magnesium, glycine, circulation, and nitric oxide. Now it is time to put the pieces together into something you can actually use. Think of this as a practical framework, a nighttime ritual designed to give your body the best chance of restoring strong morning erections and overall vitality. The first step is preparation. What you do in the hours before bed matters just as much as what you take at bedtime. Aim to finish your last meal at least 2 to 3 hours before sleep. Keep it lighter with a balance of lean protein, vegetables, and healthy fats. Heavy, greasy meals late at night reduce nitric oxide production and keep your body busy digesting instead of repairing. Alcohol should be limited, especially close to bedtime, because while it may make you feel drowsy, it fragments REM sleep and reduces testosterone. The second step is environment. Create a sleep-friendly setting. Darken the room, lower the temperature, and put away screens at least 30 minutes before bed. Blue light from devices suppresses melatonin, which is critical for entering deep sleep. Think of your bedroom as a recovery chamber, a place where your body can restore circulation, hormones, and nervous system balance. The third step is supplementation, and this is where bedtime powders come in. If you have trouble winding down, start with magnesium glycinate or magnesium threonate, about 200 to 300 milligrams in powder form mixed with warm water. This calms the nervous system and promotes deeper sleep. If you struggle with restless or shallow sleep, consider adding glycine, 3 to 5 grams to help lower body temperature and improve sleep architecture. These two powders work synergistically, calming both the mind and the body. For men who want to specifically support circulation, a small serving of beetroot powder or L-citrulline can be added. These support nitric oxide pathways and keep blood vessels primed. However, this is where personalization is important. Some men may find beetroot powder energizing if taken too close to bedtime, so experiment with timing. Others may prefer taking it earlier in the evening. Always check with your doctor, especially if you are on blood pressure medications, before adding circulation-boosting supplements. The fourth step is relaxation. Do not underestimate the role of mental state in erectile health. Stress and anxiety activate the sympathetic nervous system, which works against erections. Build in a calming ritual, light stretching, deep breathing, or even journaling to signal to your body that it is safe to shift into rest mode. Just 5 to 10 minutes of relaxation can make a measurable difference in how easily you fall into restorative sleep. The fifth step is consistency. None of these strategies are quick fixes. Magnesium and glycine work best when taken nightly over weeks. Circulation improves with steady lifestyle changes, not one serving of beetroot powder. Sleep patterns stabilize with routine. Think of this framework like building a foundation brick by brick. Night after night, you are giving your body the support it needs to restore natural erections. Here's a simple example of how it might look in practice. You finish dinner at 7 o'clock. At 9, you dim the lights and put away screens. At 9:30, you mix a scoop of magnesium glycinate and a teaspoon of glycine in warm water. You take 5 minutes to stretch and breathe deeply. By 10, you are in bed in a dark, cool room, allowing melatonin to rise. Over time, this routine helps your nervous system settle, your hormones balance, and your circulation repair. The 3 conditions needed for morning erections. Think of this ritual as an investment, not just in your erections, but in your overall health. Men who follow these habits often notice improvements not only in morning wood, but also in energy, mood, and focus during the day. And because erectile health is so tightly linked with cardiovascular health, these changes ripple out into protecting your heart and long-term vitality. To wrap this section up, remember this: the powder you take before bed is not a magic cure. It is a tool, one part of a larger framework. When combined with good sleep hygiene, circulation support, and stress management, it can tip the scales in your favor. Morning erections are not just a sign of sexual health, they are a sign of a body that is recovering, restoring, and ready for life. In our final section, I will recap the key science, demystify the confusion, and leave you with one clear action you can start tonight. We have covered a lot of ground together, so let us bring everything into focus. Morning erections are more than a measure of masculinity. They